Hello Aries, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana here on the Vibes Inside, and I'm ready with your reading for you here. So if you're new to my channel, I read about spirituality, going through the journey towards more wisdom, more growth, more personal growth, more alignment towards maybe what is more of your life purpose or your something that is really of importance to you and in alignment with your heart. And that journey takes us in all kinds of directions, and the journey is not the same for everyone, but there will be some things that come along, like the dark night of the soul, or many of them, right? Where we are shedding or purging things that were part of our programming when we grew up, but it's not necessarily right for you anymore. So, okay, what I feel like here, I can actually tell you in just a few minutes. So maybe I can actually, for the first time ever, do a short reading. But I feel like I should put in a little more information if I can. I need a few more cards then, right? Because what I have as overall energy for you right now is the Still Stand card. And it's clarified with the underlying energy that says Taming the Wind. And like when I saw this card, when I just turned it around, I actually read it like Taming the Wild. So maybe wild wind. And I actually clarified this card, and I had a storm warning card come out as clarifying. So I feel like, for whom I'm reading for here, Aries, your part of the spiritual journey has gotten you to a place where you may feel like there is a still stand, like a void, or something feels goalless, maybe. Like for a long time, maybe you have been with this, like you have been doing this, like the Taming the Wild. I said wild again, right? Taming the Wind here. Well, wind is air element. So air has to do with our mind, what's up in the air, what we think about, our thoughts, our thought patterns, our perception about the world, the social construct we've made in our brain of how the world works, and so on. What we know about the world. We could talk about intelligence, we could talk about knowledge, wisdom, expanding some of this. And because it says taming here, I feel like it has been quite, and I had the storm warning card as a clarifier for this. It feels like this has been massive somehow, like a massive turmoil of something that you have been trying to tame here. Another clarifier for this card is the World card. The World card indicates an end, coming to an end, full cycle of something, of taming the wind here. So as I said, I can give you this story very briefly here. Being in a situation where you have been using a lot of time with, you could say, purging from your brain, releasing old habits, releasing old patterns, releasing old understandings, and it has been quite tumultuous, like a storm. You've probably battled your ego in this aspect as well, but with the World card, it seems like it's coming to an end. You have been trying to tame it so that it would end, right? That a storm that has been going on for a long time in your mind is now settling. It's actually coming to an end. So this feels like you're sitting there after the storm, after the hurricane, and now it's just, you know, like when a ship is caught in thunder and massive waves out on the ocean, and then the next morning the water is calm, and the sun is like as getting up, you know, you can see the rise of the sun and the water is calm. That's what I feel like with this card. Like after something extremely massive, you now have this strange kind of still stand. To clarify this card, I have the Angel of Balance. So now the Angel of Balance is here to tell you that you have gone through something quite massive. And because of the yin and yang balance, I'm now here to give you still stand, right? I'm now here to give you peace. So this comes in now here as a balancer. This is what's going on at the moment you feel the balance of something. You've gone through something quite massive and it has been very tumultuous, water or wind or storm or whatever you would call it. And it has gotten to it. The World card is, you could say, the World card is the final card of the tarot. So it means that it's the end of something. You're feeling like the last bit of wind here before the storm actually stops. And I'm reading this right on top of or during the full moon in Pisces, which talks about coming full end, especially with the Pisces energy, because it is the last zodiac. And I read for you, Aries, right? So you are the next one. Like after Pisces, you start again. And the World card indicates, it's not a Fool card, but it indicates that these are the last drops of something, right? That you deal with something that is kind of the last drop of your storm. The last wind of your storm, or thoughts that you need to figure out or tame here, as tame as it says here. Taming can talk about many things because, well, at least in my own experience with the spiritual journey, I realized that some of my thoughts were not really benefiting me. Well, there are some that are obvious. Self-loathing and stuff like that, self-sabotaging, that's obvious. But I also followed thoughts that took me down a rabbit hole. I thought it was because I was supposed to go there and heal something, figure something out. But you can have rabbit holes that never end. Like you can, and you can try to get to the bottom of them, and maybe you will never get there. Like they just continue and continue and continue. And I had to stop some of them. I had to stop myself because it felt like a never-ending story that I kept giving my energy and attention to it, but it never really healed. I never got to get to the bottom of it. And it can be either because it was never your problem to begin with. It was never your story, it was never your trauma, it was projected upon you. It was something you took for face value. You thought, you believed it. But it was never really yours. And that's why you never find the reason. You never find the why or what happened, or you never get to that. You never get to the, like you could say, the origin of something. And what I feel like here is when you tame your wind here, you're not just, it's not just about, you could say, settling your temper or realizing something about your past that you are now wanting to shed. It's also about like really getting to know your brain, how it works, like how it can, like your brain can be wired in a certain way that you look for trouble, you look for pain, you look for certain things. So when you tame here, it's also that you become aware of like the default settings. Where does your brain kind of just want to go? What kind of orientation does it take? And you have to get to know that as well, in order at least to tame it, because sometimes it will take you down a rabbit hole. And maybe that rabbit hole is actually not helpful for your circumstances. It's prohibiting you. Here we could talk about things like becoming obsessed about something. Or, you know, like if you're grieving. Grieving is it can be a difficult process because it's low vibrational. Sometimes you can get stuck in grieving, like you can't seem to get out. No matter what you do, it's like it draws you right back into that. And of course it's because we feel we've lost something vital, someone very important. And there's nothing wrong with grieving. The point is to figure out at some point, what does my grieving actually do for me? Is it helpful? How is it helpful? When I'm grieving, grieving can be an excuse. And this sounds maybe a bit harsh, but as long as I grieve, I'm in a fragile state, so you can't ask a lot of me. As opposed to if I'm not grieving, you could ask more of me. But because I'm grieving, I'm putting myself in a victim state. So it's just sometimes go a bit deeper in what it is you are experiencing. Okay, so I've done this a lot, right? Gone a deep 2 or 3 steps deeper than what is obvious. And I figured out that our brain is like it has enormous power to find strange kind of meaning or ways out, so that it somehow serves our ego. And the ego is the protective mechanism that we have that kind of protects us from whatever wants to change us or wants to come in and give us all kinds of demands something of us. So taming the wind is not a shallow, superficial thing to do. The point is that you have done a lot of this and it's coming to an end. At least whatever storm you have been in is coming to an end. I'm not saying you could never have a storm again or wind again. But for now, what it is you have been dealing with seems to be kind of dimming itself. And there's this still stand. As I said, this is the feeling that after the storm, you wake up in the boat and the water is now kind of silent. And you see the sunshine right there in the background here. You sit in the boat and you just see the sunshine and the warmth that comes towards you, right? So from being in a cold, windy, rainy, stormy, frosty situation, like a winter, your mind has been in winter season, maybe survival and you know, like a very tough, harsh place to be. You are now seeing some sunshine here. And there's this still stand, like it's quiet. And it could be this feeling that because when you tame the wind here, this is like a storm, like your mind is racing. You're dealing with something that is, it could literally be outside of yourself also, that you have been trying to tame that wind around you. How do you tame a storm? But you know, like settling, like making agreements with people, settling them so that everything becomes a little more calm, right? Maybe there has been many, I don't know, contracts to fulfill, agreements, many talks, many reflections. You know, the taming of wind. And when I get the world card, somehow I actually want to go that route as well, like trying to tame the wind. Like taming a wind around you would be like you're trying to tame the world around you. That the world becomes still because you like it, right? You want to be able to control what's around you here. You want to create, like, control the world around you, but that is quite a difficult thing to do. Maybe it's easier to control yourself and be conscious about the world. Anyway, the point is that you have still stand, and there is an angel of balance here. So it could be the feeling that maybe someone came in like an angel and they helped you here. They helped out to get to this still stand. It could be the feeling that an angel has touched you, right? And you feel a relief. You feel that something is over. But it also, I think it feels strange. There is a silence and a quiet and a peace, and maybe that's nice, but also unfamiliar and strange. Like this void, like this is weird. Why is nothing going on? You know, like taming the wind could be someone who has been very stressed out. They have been extremely stressed out on work, in a work situation or with other situations, and now they are on vacation, or they have gotten themselves, you know, like out of a situation that hijacked, I want to say, almost your brain, right? You know, like if you are in a lawsuit and you have all kinds of thoughts going on, and you may not be a lawyer, but at the same time you're reading all these like papers and settlements and everything, because that's what it feels, you know, like when your brain needs to expand massively and handle a lot of stuff. Too much, I want to say. When we tame here, it's because it's too much, right? Otherwise we wouldn't tame. Like we would just fly with it. But if we feel like we need to tame or contain or stop, it's because it's too much. But it has come to a still stand. This is overall energy, so this is like what's in your world at the moment. Something has stopped here. Something is stopping. And it feels like balance. Like for you, it feels like a relief of something. Then at the bottom, I have the 3 of fire here. This would be the 3 of wands. The 3 of wands usually depicts a person that looks over the horizon, waiting for ships to come in. And so like, you know, you have put seeds in the ground, and now you're waiting for something to come to you, right? That it comes. You know, you send a letter and you are waiting for something to arrive. You've ordered something, you're waiting for it to come, right? But so it talks about this idea that we wait for something to come to us. Like I have managed to tame something here. And it has stopped like the storm in my head. I have stopped the you know, like the judgment is made, the settlement is made, the contract is written. So now after that, I feel this, you know, like um, put it into your situation. It doesn't have to be anything about like self-development. It can be, when the world card is here, I want to say it could be things around you that has been extremely stressful, right? There's been so much to deal with. As I said, a lawsuit, maybe, you know, like you have put your house up for sale and it has been sold, and now you need to move. So now you have to pack everything down. You have to hire someone to move your stuff and someone to take care of the cable, and you have to still pay certain bills and pay double rent. Or do you get my point? Something that has been kind of stressful in some way. And this card now talks about you now sit in your new apartment or your new house, and you have, everything is put in its place. Your furniture has gotten a new place. You have packed everything out, and you now sit here. You know, that's the difference, right? Something stressful, then there's peace. That is the balance here, the yin and yang. That when something is very stressful, then there's usually also a period of time where there can be rejuvenation or recovery. But there can be this feeling of stillstand. When this card is here, it feels almost like you have overcome something. And there could be the feeling of, like, where is my reward? Haven't I had this before with you, Aries? Something about waiting for a reward to come in. That, you know, like, like I don't know, like you've had this. Could, if this is, let's say this is about there has been a break-in in your house, and everything is, you know, like spread all over they have gone through everything, and everything is on the floor. And so you get in, and you see that everything is out of place. And this is an invasion of your privacy. This is an invasion of your maybe sense of safety. This is also like literally all your things are all over the place. This has to be tidied up. And you have to get in touch with police or insurance or everything, you know. And it's like you have done that. And there's this still stand where you're waiting maybe for, let's say, insurance money to come in. Like you have tamed this stuff that was going on. And now it's like you sit and there is peace now, but you're waiting for something to come here towards you. That's usually what the Three of Fire talks about, that it's not here yet. I'm waiting for the insurance money to come, right? Or I've called all the right people, right? And I'm waiting for them to like come and take care of stuff. It's almost like waiting for a reward or something. Like I've done this work, so now I'm waiting for something to come in here. Like you should be rewarded or something. Where's my reward? I haven't had that before with you, Aries. I have that feeling, but somehow I believe that it's, well, maybe there is literally a reward to be waited for, or you know, like insurance money or something. But otherwise, I want to say perhaps the still stand, the balance, the anti-stress is the reward, is the counterpart to what it is you have been going through. And at the same time, I see him, he is already sitting on the boat, right? It's almost like you are in the boat, but maybe you don't feel like it. Like, this is the feeling of like, you have been running a marathon, and the aim of the marathon is to win it and get the medal and the prestige and the photos in the paper and everything. So you're running it, you have all the stress and preparing and everything, you're running this marathon here. But the point is that you want to get to the finish line, not just to stop running, like the still stand here. The point is that you're not doing it for the still stand, like for the stopping and then resting. That's not why you're doing it. You're doing it not for the resting time that comes after. You're doing it because there's a potential for winning something here. For winning something, getting something, achieving something. And somehow I have the feeling with this message that maybe that's not it. Because what about all these other marathon runners who get in 5th place or 10th place or 51st place? They have no medal. All they have is the still stand. All they have is the rest that they get. All they have is, maybe it's their first marathon and they have never completed one before. Maybe the success for them is the completion. And the rest, rejuvenation after, the feeling that I actually completed it. I completed it. The completion in itself is enough. Here it feels a little bit like someone wants a reward. Like, I have done all this work now. So where is my reward? But you are actually on it. Like, does it make sense? Like, you are actually on it. You completed it. You got over it. You finished it. You healed it. You figured it out. You persevered. You managed it. And because you've done that, you are not where you were. Like, you have undergone something. Oh, I've talked so much about this since this Virgo reading I had a little more than a week ago, right? That where there's this hit that comes in everyone's life. At some point we get some kind of hit, bigger or smaller, but and there is a life up to that hit. When the hit comes, there's a life before that hit, and then there's a life after. The life after deals with an aftermath, something that changes our lives, personally or around us. As I said, if you are grieving the loss of someone, it had an impact on you personally. Maybe the way you think. If you've lost your parent, how am I supposed to deal with my world now, right? It's like, it can be this massive hit, or like an invasion, that something comes in that I'm not prepared for. I don't know how to deal with it. But the taming of the wind and the world card here tells me that somehow you are dealing with it. Somehow you are trying to find an end of this turmoil. Or you have been trying to control the world outside you by doing all kinds of stuff, right? By trying to tame everything out there. So make others settle down. Lawyers or whatever it is, make them settle down. People, your family, whatever, make them settle down so that you could have peace, right? Or that you're taming your own stuff. Things that may impact you from the world, that you're taming it in here or around you, your space around you, and it's coming to an end here. And because of that, the balance card is now here to kind of let you know that you have overcome something. But it feels a little bit like you want to be the marathon runner that comes in first. Because then you are not only completing the marathon, and you have the still stand after. You will have the pause and the break and, the good dinner or whatever that comes, the rest that comes. You also get the first prize. Like you know that the first prize is the reason why you actually did this in the first place. To be noticed, to feel like you overcome. It's like, like climbing a mountain, climbing Mount Everest. Not for the journey of it, but to stand with your prize in the hand and the photo in the paper. So the journey in itself is not interesting. The journey is just what I need to do to have my picture in the paper. Does it make sense? Like that's what I feel like with this card. It's like you don't even know you're on the boat. You're waiting for the ships. That's what the Three of Fire talks about. That you wait for the ships to come in. Like something should come to me now. But you're actually on the ships. Like you are on the ship. Does it make sense? Because you're not the same. Like you are not the same you were before the hit came, but you are also not the same who stands in the hit. You have actually managed to get yourself out of something here, to persevere and get on with something. So you see that you've had a journey from here, meeting something here that hit you somehow, and that created a storm, dealing with the storm, and now you're actually getting out of it, and you feel this still stand, and it's like, what now? And because I've done all of this kind of stuff, where is, I'm supposed to kind of feel that I'm supposed to feel the change. I'm supposed to, get a reward. People should tell me, right, how great I was. I should have my picture in the paper. But actually, I feel like it's like you're not seeing the ships, right? The ships are not visible for you. You're looking for the ships, but you're on it. Like, does that make sense? Like, the reward, you could say. How can I tell? It's like, it's the feeling that in general, my life should be amazing. So when it's not amazing, like when you're in this, and it came out with like a storm warning card. So if my life should be amazing, great. My life should be great. That's your expectation. My life should be great. Because I'm a person where my life should be great. That is an expectation you may have. So when it's not great, when something comes in and hits here, it feels like you're given some kind of job or task or test. And when it's done, when you've done it, you've overcome it, I need a reward now, right? But the only reason why you believe you need a reward, or you should receive some kind of recognition somehow, is because from the get-go you had a feeling that your life should be great. That that you should not, like something like this should not be put in your way. Like it doesn't belong there. Like the storm warning or this taming of the wind, it shouldn't be there. And now that you've dealt with it, it's like I should get a bonus, right? Because it was not supposed to be there in the first place. I'm not that kind of person who gets something in the way like this. This is not like, it's like being that something very unfair has been put in your way, and you're not a person who gets stuff like that in your way. So when you actually deal with it, you should get a bonus. You should be rewarded that you took care of this. Does that make sense? Like the feeling that because I take care of something that actually doesn't belong to me, it doesn't belong to me. Because in my world, something like this just isn't there. So when I deal with something like that, or even if I help someone else deal with something like that, then I should be rewarded. But I believe that the reward in itself is here. If you would call it a reward, it's the balance of something. That's the still stand you have now. It could be the feeling that you know like you've been working hard all your life and now you're retiring. And the point of the retiring is that you have worked hard and be diligent and every day and all this stuff for many years, and now it's a balancing time, right? That it doesn't mean that you get a reward. It just means that you're shifting from being in a very active mode to being in a less active mode. That is a balancing thing. And the balancing thing in itself is the reward. Like that, this is you are on the ship. You, like this idea that you are waiting for something, or something should arrive, something should come in, or offers should come, or I feel that I'm sitting in this void or something here, but the void is actually the counterpart of what you have been in. But the still stand may not feel like a reward or like a bonus or like the goal. But you see, when you tame the wild here, when we are taming something here, what is it we are looking for? We are looking for the wind to not be a storm, but maybe just to be a breeze. So we are looking for something more still. When the wind gets out of hand, we're looking for something that is the opposite. When something becomes too big, we're looking for the opposite. And when it arrives, we're maybe not even grateful for it. We just take it for granted because now my life is great again. Or now my life is as it always been. Or so when an obstacle comes in, we feel like it's unfair or something that now we have to deal with this. And when the balance comes back, we are not actually necessarily, oh, it's just like, oh, that was nice. Now I'm back to normal. But the idea of the still stand and balance here is maybe not that this is normal. This is the opposite of the problem. So here we can also maybe have a bit of gratitude, right? That when we don't like the storm here, we could maybe like this, like that we could sit in a little more gratitude of when things are more calm and quiet and I can breathe again, I can sleep again. I don't feel like I'm, like constantly under pressure. That in itself is good. And you are on the ship, right? That the ship has come in. Your reward is there. You are on the ship. When you realize that the still stand, the void or the feeling of being in between something, that the still stand is a balancing thing and that it is good. That the quiet and the peace is not something that necessarily we can take for granted. It's part of the balance. It's one side of it, and then there's like the storm warning and everything, it's on the other side. And our life will be a mix of this. So when the balance is there, when the calm is there, when sleep is there, when there's no problem, maybe we should be grateful for that. Actually appreciating it because we now know that it's the opposite of the turmoil. The turmoil will be part of our life anyway, but there will always also be this other thing. And when it's there, it's almost like, people may not even think about it like that. Like when something becomes too much, there's also a time where things become almost too less. Like here you are not challenged, right? You're not challenged. You're given a time where you are rejuvenating or you're getting yourself into balance again. You're not supposed to fight anything there. You're not supposed to do anything. But it's almost like when we are in that space, it could be this almost just waiting for it to be changed into storm again. So in the storm, we are fighting to get through it. In the still stand, we should rejuvenate, heal, and just be. Here we are maybe angry or unhappy and everything. So be happy here, right? Just be aware of these dynamics that when something is actually calm and peaceful and you can rejuvenate, heal, that is part, and you are on that ship now, right? Your ships have come in, but you may not see it like that. That the still stand and the balance is a counter experience to the storm. The still stand and balance is not a what is that called? Like, it's not to be taken for granted. It's also not to be taken for granted that you will always be in storm and turmoil. It's almost the opposite. What we should take for granted is that there will be both. And that when you have one, you will also have the other at some point. And when it's there, just enjoy it. Be happy. Maybe you're not winning the gold medal. Maybe you will not get a reward. Like people are applauding you. Yeah, you did it, right? Maybe they're not applauding you. But you can applaud yourself then. You can be happy on your own behalf. You can like give yourself that thumbs up and say, well, I actually did this. I got out. Or I see now how I have been hijacked, right? How I have been hijacked by something. And because I don't feel that anymore, I'm free. It's a sense of freedom, perhaps. But nobody is necessarily clapping at you, right? It's something that is for your own benefit. You have gotten yourself on the ship, right? And that is in itself enough. This idea of the reward, that something big should come in, I believe that idea of something big is that you are on the ship, like you got out. You got out. That in itself is an achievement. That in itself is beautiful. That in itself is healing. Otherwise, you're still running the marathon, right? You're still in this. People who can get out of their own way, I want to say, they stop the marathon running, right? Otherwise, you are in the marathon always. You keep running in there. And you never get to stop and rejuvenate. There is no goal finish line. This feels like you have gotten yourself to a finish line of something. There is balance here for you. And you have gotten yourself on that ship. It's almost just like the message I'm giving here is almost like you don't even know it. Or you can't even appreciate it. Like, you don't see the reward of what you have been doing. I think you should maybe think back. Think back in time. How was your life? How was your way of thinking? Were you happy? Did you feel you were free? That you could go where you wanted to go, or you felt, like I've talked a lot about codependency here on my channel. Read up for scapegoats that feel they may have been trapped or somehow tied to something. This is the feeling that you have cut cords or you have gotten yourself out somehow of something. And you have gotten yourself out of something. And that in itself is maybe a freedom. That in itself is the new boat. But you may not even see it like that. Maybe you don't even feel it like that. That you are in another boat now. That's what I feel like. I said I could make like a short reading about this, but you know what I mean. Like they still stand after a battle and feeling you wanting a reward for it. That you have battled something, you have gotten victory, and now you should be rewarded. But that's not maybe exactly how it is. The reward in itself is you getting to the other side, getting to your freedom, or getting on another boat here. Yeah, that's what I feel like. This is what I have, Aries. So I feel like instead of like doing more about it and just talking for another hour, I feel like I should stop actually, because this is the message that I have. That maybe there is no reward, right? You're waiting for something or you're hoping for something, but I want to say maybe the reward in itself is that you got out. You know, or you even maybe you got out in one piece of something. That is in itself enough. That's what I feel like I have. It's not to offend anyone or something. It's just to say that, like hurdles, speed bumps are not necessarily unfairness. We are here as souls to grow, and we cannot grow if there are no speed bumps. That kind of shake us up. If life is just peachy all the way around, we're not really learning anything, are we? Like the speed bumps that come, the speed bumps are those that teach us about life, about emotions, but also overcoming them. And it's not that we necessarily need to get a medal or applause because we get up after a bike fall, right? That we get up and try again. This is part of life. That's how it works. Yeah, maybe people will not like this reading, I don't know, but that's actually what I feel like. It's the reward is that you got out maybe in one piece. You've learned something, as I said, maybe about your mind, how your mind works. You've learned maybe something about your own pitfalls or your rabbit holes. You have learned what to trust, not to trust, what kind of agreements to enter into, or what kind of people around you could trust or you wanted to have like deal with. That is what you're learning. That's the bonus. That is the knowledge, the wisdom you take with you. That is the reward. You're always sitting in it. You're already sitting on it or in it. You're taking with you now, you would say, a basket of knowledge. And this is the basket that she's holding here, right? That you've learned something. Yeah, okay, this is what I have, Aries. I hope this helped, or that it's, I don't know, maybe it's provocative. You know, like I'm challenging you a little bit, perhaps, right? But that's what I feel like. With the cards, what it says here is like, again, it's something about gratitude for, I think it's sometimes overlooked. Like the things that are still and quiet, or giving and healing and rejuvenating, it's overlooked. We take it for granted. I've said it before, like feminine energy, it's and the mother energy, like it's we just expect it to be there. Like we expect it to be present, but we don't really care. Like when it's there, when you actually sit here and you lay here, or you're resting, watching television, or you go to sleep, you take it for granted. We expect it to be so. Like we expect our mothers to be in a certain way. That they will hear us out. And you know, many of the feminine things are like, I've said it before, something like every time she put a bandage on your knee and comforted you, every time she held your hand and was singing a lullaby before bedtime, or every time she was just kindly, like, you know, like nursing you, you know, like, or comforting you. It's easy gone. Like the memory of this, or it's a simple little thing that makes a big impact or changes things. But we forget about it. We hold on to the things that are bad, ugly. But the good things, the kind things, the graceful things, we forget about it again. It kind of evaporates in the air. We're not really thinking much about it, right? And this is what I'm feeling like. This is actually it. That now you have the grace. Now stillstand is here. Now peace is here. Healing, rejuvenation. Now you are given the peace you have been looking for while you were trying to tame the wind here. It's now here. And then it's almost like we don't trust it, or it feels awkward, or we are looking over our shoulders for more trouble to come. But it's actually coming in like a kindness. This is kind, right? It's kind. So just take it for it. Like take that. Where this is maybe more wild or challenging here, right? Now something kind is here. And just embrace that and be grateful for it. It's not a given. It's not something we have been promised. It's part of the balance. And if you can see that, right? If you can see that you are already on the boat, when you can see that, you may have gratitude for it. You may actually realize, oh, I've learned something. I've gotten myself to a new place. I'm on the boat. I'm actually on the boat. Don't need to wait for something. I'm already in it. I've got my freedom. I've cut the ties, or I have gotten myself out. Yay, right? Celebrate that. That's what I feel like. Just know that it's not a given. Like this peaceful, beautiful place where the sun is rising quietly and giving you warmth and care and kindness. That this is the angel of balance that comes in and gives you this grace. That is like I would say the mother, right? That like the mother comes in and gives you a pause, a break. And that is important to realize that you've actually, you have gotten yourself to balance. That it came in for you. It's here. And enjoy it. Be grateful for it. Some people can use, like veterans that come from war with post-traumatic stress. They get home to maybe the little town they come from. And there is no war there. But they still live in it. Like, they still live in the storm, even though the storm is not there. Like, but it's in their mind, right? So when they sleep, they relive it. When they wake up, they hear a loud bang, and they are almost in the battlefield with the cannons and gunshots and everything. It's so vibrantly alive in them that they can't almost distinguish between the past and what's actually in front of them. So if you have gotten yourself, like if I'm talking to someone who has really been living in some kind of post-traumatic stress-like situation, and you've gotten yourself to here, like that is an enormous achievement. You see, like it's a big achievement, and that in itself is like you have gotten yourself on another boat. That is a big achievement. That is the reward in itself, that you may have peace up here actually. Or more peace than you had before. Or clarity, or that it's not constantly racing. The racing mind is is more of a chaos state, where this would be more of like a clear, unworried, peaceful state, right? Where this is chaos and this is peace. So if you've gotten yourself to that in itself is the reward. Yeah, this is what I have. And if we take a little bit of time to just get, like actually understand that, because you have to compare, you have to go back and think maybe, let's say 3 years back. How was your mind working? What were you thinking about? What were you occupied by? How did you scan the world? What were your interests? What kind of friends did you have? What did you worry about? And how do you see life now? For someone with this, I would say they have gotten themselves to a different place. Like whether literally you were moving or you have gotten yourself to a different place in your mind. That's why you are on the boat here. You are already on the boat. The boat you have been wanting to find, or the reward the reward you were hoping that could ever come for you. It's already here. You have claimed it. You're sitting in it. You're living it now. You're living it now. This is what I feel like I have, Aries, for you. I hope this was interesting. Yeah. I wish you the very best, Aries. Take care of yourself out there. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.